How often have your grandparents told you about things that they saw in their childhood, but you could never experience? While the current generation thrives on social media that lets them virtually explore everything on and beyond planet Earth, there is a lot that you might never stand a chance to see in real life. Mohammad Yousuf Wani, the 70-year-old Kashmiri man, is worried that his grandson Faizan will never stand a chance to witness the magnificent Kashmiri Hangul, also known as the Kashmiri Stag. So, what happened to these? How did the species that stayed around suddenly is difficult to catch? Well, that is what we will discuss in this video. In this video, we will discuss what happened to the Hanguls. Hangul, or the Kashmiri stag, is the only surviving subspecies of elk, which is a native to Kashmir. It was earlier believed to be a subspecies of red deer. However, a number of mitochondrial DNA genetic studies prove that it is a part of the Asian clade of the elk. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, the IUCN, includes it in the Central Asian red deer group. Their limited distribution and small population makes them one of the world's critically endangered species. To tackle this issue, a special project has been initiated. Project Hangul is the conservation project for these magnificent yet critically endangered Kashmiri stag. At the beginning of the 20th century, they existed in thousands and lived in groups of 2 to 18 in dense riverine forests in high valleys and mountains of Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. Over the years, their habitat was destroyed and they are now one of the critically endangered species. But if the Hanguls are so important and such majestic animals, how did we not notice the threat? Well, the endangered Hangul, also known as the Kashmiri deer, are in the throes of extinction largely because of human intrusion and domestic livestock grazing at its only habitat in the valley. Wildlife experts and activists claim that they have been raising the alarm, calling for stringent measures to check human intrusions at Srinagar's famed Dachigam National Park, the main concentration of the endangered elk species. But the authorities have allowed grazing in the sprawling national park spread over 141 square kilometers for what the activists say a mere political reason, which has gravely endangered the existence of Hangul. In the 1940s, Hangul's population was between 3,000 and 5,000. But overgrazing by domestic livestock and poaching led to its habitat destruction. Samina Amin, a researcher in the wildlife department, said nowhere in the world are national parks used for grazing. With reference to the condition of Dachigam, she said, "Call it anything but a national park," pointing out that there is a full-fledged government-run sheep breeding center inside the park that has also contributed to the dwindling Hangul population. The 1947 Hangul census recorded its number at 2,000. The massive decline was mainly attributed to poaching them. The last census was done in 2011, when its population was found just over 200, according to the Wildlife Department figures. As per a former wildlife official, Mohammad Yousuf Wani, at the time of independence, there were around 3,000 Hangul in Kulgam and Pahalgam in South Kashmir and Uri, Lolab, Kupwara, Gurez, Titwal and other places in the western and northern parts of the valley. He further laments that the animal became a victim of poachers' greed and indiscriminate killing for sport, having led to its verge of extinction. In the early 1970s, the first ever census of the Hangul was carried out by the IUCN, and there were only 170 Hanguls at the time, sounding alarm bells. Soon after the census, various initiatives were carried out by the state government of Jammu and Kashmir to save the animal from extinction. As per 2019 census, there are only 237 Hanguls with a sex ratio of 15.5 males per 100 females and 15.5 fawns per 100 females. Projects for the conservation of Hangul include the Project Hangul. In the 1970s, the government of Jammu and Kashmir, along with the support of IUCN and World Wildlife Fund (WWF), prepared a project for the protection of the habitat of Hangul or the Kashmiri Stag. The protection for the conservation and protection of Kashmiri Stag came to be known as Project Hangul, and its population increased to 340 by the year 1980. The rupees 1.677 crore 5-year project included artificial breeding of the highly endangered stag along with other measures for its protection and conservation. In the year 2010, the Wildlife Conservation Fund was established with the aim of protecting wildlife and wilderness in the UT of Jammu and Kashmir. Starting with the conservation of Hangul, it was to be achieved via community support, awareness and management of wildlife. It also aimed at changing attitude towards nature and promote harmony between humans and animals. Hangul Conservation Project was launched by Wildlife Conservation Fund. WCF aims at resolving issues related to various species of Hangul in Kashmir, particularly in the Datchagam National Park. It is to be noted that the project failed to achieve the desired objectives as the locals did not participate in the project. Also, the project was confined around Dagwan in a radius of 10 kilometers. Further, the establishment of cement factories was allowed by the government departments around the Datchagam National Park, disturbing wildlife. To explore their habitats beyond the national park, wildlife experts from the Wildlife Trust of India (WTI), Dehradun-based Wildlife Institute of India (WII), and Department of Wildlife Protection Jammu and Kashmir government had conducted extensive study across the valley. Presence of the red deer was confirmed year-round in the distinct areas of Vanghat, Narang and Chandaji. The analysis of the survey indicated that Hangul exhibits high global marginality and low global tolerance. Habitat suitability modeling predicted 610.75 square feet kilometer area of conifer and temperate broad-leaved forests as highly, that is 61 to 100% suitable, and 980.25 square kilometer as moderately, that is 31 to 60% suitable, primarily in two distinct areas of Vanghat, Narang and Chandaji, 292 square kilometers, which also showed presence of the Hangul year-round. The good news is that this suggests their high potential to increase further, given adequate conservation attention and legal protection, especially in lower altitude regions which serve as important wintering and fawning grounds. Future conservation efforts for the Hangul are required to be multifaceted and implemented at a landscape level, considering the surviving relic population identified in the study. But wait, while efforts for the survival of Hanguls are in action, how about you make the efforts for the survival of our channel? #subscribe Vaultofvox. Comment your views, like our video, share them with fellow enthusiasts. And until we meet next, stay curious, stay awesome. Vaultofvox signing off.